Food and weight obsession can be exhausting. Losing weight, gaining weight, dieting, feeling like a failure because you missed a workout, binged, overate, or gained all the weight back. The cycle is endless and it can be maddening. But I'm here to say you can stop the mental madness. You can take back control of your food behaviors, but you have to face your fears, you have to ask for help, and make a change. I am Leslie M. Thornton, permanent weight loss coach from hpwl.co. This is hypnosis for permanent weight loss, and I know you can make this happen. On this podcast, you will hear how to stop the mental madness, love your body, trust your food decisions so you can create a life of happiness, freedom, and inner peace. How long do you think that you are going to live? My experience working as a nurse in the hospital, kidney transplant unit, surgical and neuro ICU, I got to see death in ways some people don't. And some people have. I recognize whether you saw a parent die or, God forbid, a child. I wish I haven't had so many conversations with people who have lost a child since I've started this business. It's atrocious. It's really sad. Someone close to you, a sibling, death changes us. And what I see happening over and over again is us forgetting that our time here is limited. I could get emotional thinking about it. And today's podcast, I want to really talk about regret before death and hopefully initiate some energy in you to take action. I'm a big action taker. I know that I have what I have in my life, and I have grown as much as I've grown because of my fast action taking. There's a war leader, Colin Powell, and he was known to say that he makes a decision when he has 45% of the information. If he waits until he has 65% of the information, he has waited too long and people have died. And it is so powerful to learn how to be a decisive action taker, to take action even without knowing all the information, but just knowing enough and knowing that there is a need, there is something that needs to be done. Some action is better than no action. And the impact of waiting until things are perfect or until it's too late, obviously that one is obvious. But it is extremely great. What's having me be present to this right now is the amount of conversations I've had with people. I have a client who's just finishing up the 8-week Fast Track to Freedom program right now. And she's mentioned a couple times about her feelings of regret, anger, disappointment, and sadness that she has been carrying this food, body, and weight stress and cross and anxiety and insecurity with herself for so long. And now in her 60s, just thinking about how much time she wasted in her head. I just spoke to a woman today. She's in her early 70s. And I asked the question, is this a priority for you to get free from this mental obsession with food, body, and weight now? Or is it something that can wait until later? And to me, it would be obvious for this woman. She also felt the same way. She's like, I'm already 70 years old. Like, I'm pretty sure it has to be a priority because I'm lucky if I get 10, maybe I'll get 20 years if I'm lucky, right? And it's just like, if not now, when? If not now, when? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And for some people, it may sound morbid and I don't want to go there and it's too confronting. And for some people, I'm hoping that, it is exactly what you need to hear today to change your life and to have you start thinking in ways that actually could support you in taking action. So first thing I want to talk about is risk taking. I have loved observing as I study behavioral psychology and coaching and patterns and, the unconscious mind and how all these things and processes in our brains work, watching how people are, there's, my family has a camp up in the Adirondack Mountains, and there is a specific cliff that you can jump off. And there are different levels of ledges, and some are way scarier and higher than others. And when you drive up to this area in your boat and you look up, and people jump off their boats and then swim, and then you can climb up to the different levels and then back to the boat after you jump in the water. And so while you're on the boat as a spectator, or sometimes even when you're waiting in line to jump off the cliff yourself, you see everyone's process for actually taking that leap. For some people, it's instantaneous, right? And they just boom, don't think about it, and they leap. For some people, it could take hours. And sometimes after those hours, they still end up not going and backing themselves down, getting back into the water and just swimming back to the boat without any jump at all. Now, and some people in between, somewhere in between. There's nothing wrong with any way of doing it, but again, just from a space of curiosity on how we do things. So the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. So I want you to think back to when you were a kid about any type of risk type of activity. I remember as a kid, there was also, it's called Noah's Ark. It's the biggest water park, I believe, still in the U.S. And it's in Wisconsin. We had relatives that lived there, and they had like the world's tallest water slide or something. And it was like just a straight down, like zoom flume situation on like a foam pad. And I was hesitant to actually do it. And then I saw my younger sister, who was 2 years younger than me, grab her pad. She was probably 6, and just march right up and start walking up the stairs like she was not scared at all. And it was like, oh no, I'm not letting my younger sister out, whatever me. And so I went face the fear, and maybe that's how I got braver. We have these patterns from when we're kids of, the competition with sisters or whatever that kind of gets formulated young. Who knows? But sharing these things to kind of jog your thoughts on what level of risk tolerance are you? Obviously, we hear risk tolerance when it comes to like the stock market and how much you want to, do that, and your age matters. I kind of see this as a bit different because I feel like a physical, right? And like, I don't know, like your own skin in the game. Not that your money isn't your own skin, but there's something that feels like more of a separation when it comes to the stock market than it does to your actual physical transformation or like what it is that you are embarking upon. So in doing thousands of calls with people over the last 10 years since I've been an entrepreneur, I have seen kind of like at the end of the call when it's time to actually jump in, and I have a fast action discount because I really honor people. I know it doesn't get any easier to make a choice to put your skin in the game. It's scary to go towards permanent weight loss. There's a vulnerability in it, and there is a seriousness of how it feels of like, wow, if I am putting this much skin in the game, I'm serious, and therefore like it's emotional. It's an emotional thing. And I see people in all those same types of fashions. I saw people doing the cliff jump. Some people instantaneously in the water, signing right up. Some people, they have a bunch of questions first. They need to make sure it's completely safe, right? Checking around the territory, totally great. And then once they feel safe, all their questions are answered. Well, now they'll jump. And then some people, they will just not jump. And I'm not going to lie, it's still like makes me so sad. It's like obviously only when I know that like this jump is going to be the most extraordinary jump and like be the thing that catalyzes like the most amazing life transformation you can imagine. Like it is so challenging. And I do my inner work, and I know like, for some people, it's just not the right time, or, they're not ready yet, consciously, spiritually, energetically. all the things. Yeah. And it's still like I care so deeply um, about people getting what they want out of life. And I just know the power of coaching and know the power that investment has had in my life and continues to. And so I feel emotional right now. It's just like, it feels like a tragedy. um, because, yeah, while it's scary and all those things, like who you become for yourself, like once you actually face the fear, you know, jump in the water, have this amazing thrill. Like you're never the same for yourself again. Like you're now a woman who, can face her fears, take action outside her comfort zone, like, bypass everything inside of ourselves that says, don't do it. It's not safe. It's dangerous. It's scary. And then you can continue to like take bigger and bigger risks, and like your life continues to expand and expand and expand. It's just like an energetic, incredible, amazing thing. Um, so when it comes to risk taking, right, and regrets in life, obviously at Hypnosis for Permanent Weight Loss, I really see people's mental obsession with food, body, and weight as being a major, major obstacle, as well as issue. And that, 71-year-old woman that I just spoke to, talking to her again in a half hour, I hope she signs up for the program. I think she's a perfect fit. When people are saying to me things like, I just want the mental chatter to stop, I just want to have peace in this area of my life. And I feel for her, this woman specifically, like I can tell that she's kind of battling two parts of herself, like the part of herself that like knows she wants to be healthy in old age, knows she wants to be able to move, that she feels the best between this weight and that weight based on past experience. And the part of her that's like, I just need to get out of this chaos in my head. And it's like, how can the two come together? And it feels absolutely impossible for the two to come together when you're in that space. And that can be so torturous when you have one part of you saying one thing and one part of it. And it's like the battle is just going on all day long. A more surfacey battle is like one part of you wants to, eat your salad and lose weight, and one part of you wants to eat the pizza that somebody brought into work because it smells so good, right? So like we know that conflict and that battle. Hypnosis helps to kind of make it so it's not conflicted anymore, and you get to be one congruent energy, and you just know what you're doing, and you can kind of feel your own intuition and go through life. And I don't know, like life gets pretty magical in my experience. And I was just working with a client last night. She's in the accelerator program that we have beyond the 8-week program if people still want the accountability and coaching. And I am so moved. So I do 2 retreats a year for my accelerator clients, and she was at the last retreat, and we did a timeline therapy session, which is, it's not defined as past life regression, but it is a form of it. So regardless of belief in past life or any of that kind of stuff, it's a very wildly profound, powerful session. Anyway, so you get to find the root cause of a limiting decision that you had in your life. So when I first started working with this woman, so she is a neuroscientist, lives in California, just awesome girl, and like wants the most out of life, like wants to go get her PhD in a different country. Like she is doing that. That's what she's working towards now. She, has an awesome friend group. She wants to have a great relationship. She also was completely trapped in her head around food, body, and weight stuff, and kind of had that attachment of like, I can't have a relationship unless I'm skinny, but I can't stop binging, right? It's just this like push pull that just like literally stunts your ability to do anything in your life powerfully. Like, how could you manifest your partner if there is this energy inside of you that is like push and pull and struggling and straining and this and that and insecure and out and binging and hiding and purging and thising and right? Like, it's just like, there's no room for what I have found it does require to receive like really authentic, beautiful love. Nothing wrong. It's just like, this is why though I see the food, body, and weight struggle as being like, oh, thank God that you have access to clearing this out. But what people don't get is like, what is beyond the food, body, and weight struggle. And this is where the regret comes in, because it's like, oh my God, I did not know that this was living outside of me. So it's the same as, a fish living in a fish bowl. They're breathing water, right? And like they don't know anything outside of their water they're breathing, right? And then once you get out of that water, though, I'm thinking of the Little Mermaid right now, right? And you see what's on land, like if you're right and you have right legs and you have arms and you have breath and you have like the ability to talk and right all of these things, like it's like a whole new world. Okay, now I went into Aladdin, but like really, and it's just really hard, right? But anyway, it doesn't matter if there isn't any sense of that. It's really challenging usually when clients come onto the call with me and I ask them like, what do you want outside of your constant thinking about food, body, and weight? And I'll have you reflect on that. Like, if you no longer were struggling with food, body, and weight anymore, like what would you be focused on? What would you care about? What would you be present to? Some people know right away. What I hear most of the time is they want to be present with their friends and family. They want to be active and enjoy doing activities they love. Some want to travel, but mostly what I find is like they want just the simple peace, presence, inner freedom, happiness. And I think that's the most beautiful space to be in. Most of my clients are menopausal age. I am not all of them. I don't only work with that age, but for whatever reason, I guess my message attracts that age group. But I also know that there's this turning point that happens for women around the menopausal age where their values shift. So not only is your biology shifting, but your values also shift from only caring about being a good mom, a good friend, a good daughter, a good wife, to what about my happiness? What about my health? What about my personal development? And what about my spiritual connection are some major turning points. So our program like is literally like perfectly designed to give that and help with that, what can be a painful transition out of, something that's so familiar that we've hung on so tightly to, which is the way we look, what other people think, how we see ourselves in the mirror, all this type of stuff. And at the end of the day, it's almost always the avoidance of feeling feelings that has people stay stuck. It's very confronting, anxiety. Like we build our whole identity on the way we look, especially as women, like even if we try not to. Anyway, it's just an amazing thing. So this gal from the accelerator program, she started out in that space and like very challenging, but she took every challenge on. She faced all her fears about eating and letting go of the control and, just being present to how she felt and doing the emotional mastery, doing all the homework. Like she did it. And so we did this timeline therapy session. We identified that she had a belief that I don't have my SHIT together, that she can't get it together, essentially, that she is a woman who can't get it together. And so how she presented, her energy was frantic a lot of times. She was late a lot of times. She said her house was easily getting, disorganized a lot of times. And, at work, she would make mistakes and, right, she just constantly had these reminders externally on how she, couldn't get her stuff together. And so we got to clear out where the source of that limiting decision came from for her. And she had this like really deep, profound kind of breakthrough in doing the session. And she came back last night into the call and she was like, life is completely changing around me. She was like, I am happy with my body, even though I have extra weight on right now. Like, I feel confident in my skin and my clothes. She was like, my house is mysteriously getting like more and more organized, and I'm not even trying to do that. She was like, I'm starting to see other people who I used to compare myself to, who I used to say like were so perfect and had it all together. And I'm starting to see how they don't, that they also have their things, their issues. And she said, I'm getting mirrored back from my friends and from my reality that I actually do really have my stuff together. And she's like, it is wild. Right. And she's like, and so I just am so inspired. I just want to keep unpacking these layers of all of these limiting decisions and beliefs, and continue to have it this, could like work for me through the unconscious. Recently, I just started really advertising for a neurolinguistic programming personal breakthrough session. So if you have questions on that, I don't advertise it publicly. It used to be on the website, but if you go on my website, I think there's a button to put like, so you can inquire about neurolinguistic programming. And then you'll get on my calendar and we can talk more about it. But essentially, you pick one area of life, whether it's weight loss or it could be anything, financial, relationship, health, whatever. And then we go through and we find all of the limiting decisions, like every obstacle possible. Like these questions are specifically designed to pull out from the unconscious things that you couldn't see before about your problems, that generates new ideas. We did this same session during the hypnosis for permanent weight loss retreat that I last did. Anyway, and it has you just feel like laser focused, very much like congruent. Like your energy is just like, I know where I'm going. Like there's no right of that crazy noise. Anyway, yeah, and I currently have a promo on it, so I think I'm doing it until June 15th, so you should see this by then, so definitely get on my calendar if you're interested in doing. So it's a half-day personal breakthrough session. We meet on Zoom. It is, a full-on thing, so anyway, but it's super powerful, and yeah, gets you really inspired action, ready to go. So she had that experience doing it in the retreat, and then now she's seeing her whole life shift around her. And it's just like getting like, if she did not take this risk, if these clients that I had did not take this risk. I just had my clients last night say like, Leslie, you should be teaching this in high schools. Like high school students need this, it's like, please. And anybody listening, if you have any contacts for me to be talking about this stuff, like I love it so much. But my main target is healthcare professionals. I just talked to a whole bunch of dental entrepreneurs, and now a bunch of them are doing NLP and private coaching with me. So that I do find that those are the people that can help the most. So again, if you do know any contacts you think I should be introduced anywhere you've been listening to a long time, or if you have a group that you're involved in and you just want me to come in and do a timeline therapy session for goal setting, or teach about hypnosis and hypnosis for weight loss, like I'm really in love with that kind of service right now. So please find a way to contact me. My email should be on the website, or a way to contact me. So if you don't take these risks, right? And I get it can be scary, but it's like, what is the impact, right? For this gal, it's like, now she's going to be on track to attract a really aligned partner. We don't know when, but she is definitely on track to doing that as she continues to do this work, and as she did just continue to like keep doing it, which to me, it's like, she told me that, like, she's like, when I joined the Fast Active Freedom program, I did it because I believed that there was something wrong with me. I was broken. I couldn't control my eating, blah, blah, blah. She's like, now that I've finished this and I realize like none of that is actually true, and I have a handle over my own emotions and thoughts and beliefs, and my energy feels good. She's like, I am making an empowered choice to keep going because I see how my life is going to get better and better as I continue to take a look and do this work, right? And to me, that's the personal development passion. That's that's where the fun begins. And my intention for all my clients is that you never sign up for something ever again with the mindset of I'm doing this because I'm broken, something's wrong, but rather because like, hey, I'm someone who always wants to feel amazing and I recognize this area of my life needs a little tune up. And so I want to, fill that hole so that I can get back to my wholeness as a human because we are all whole and complete. I always say to people, the only thing wrong with you is that you believe there's something wrong with you. And then, get back into like being able to be present and like follow, your life course and what you're, meant to do. I really believe that we do all have our own unique strengths, but sometimes if we don't know what they are, or we have people in our lives that are not supporting us, or, family dynamics, constant thinking about food, body, and weight, like negative thinking, it's like, yeah, it's just like basically having a roommate as an abusive partner in your own head. And it's just like, if you're living with an abusive partner in your own head, that is you. Every time you make a mistake on your eating, or, right, you know that you are hard on yourself, or other people tell you that and you're not doing anything about it. Wow. Like, I just would hate to see anybody pass away, which it could happen at any time. I've seen it happen at any time, not knowing that they could have experienced this, that they could have experienced connection, peace, happiness, joy, freedom. I used to be so anxious. I used to be so tightly wound. I used to be quiet because I was locked in my own head. On paper, I looked great and doing awesome and ticked all the boxes, but I was not enjoying myself. I always needed to have a relationship to feel safe. My nervous system was just all right, jacked up, and I attracted bad partners. And the food, body, and weight thing was something that was with me though since a very young age. And so that's why I believe this work is at the core of all possibility, because food is the first thing introduced to us when we are first born. It's the first thing that gives us safety and comfort and that nurturing. And so it makes sense that whenever you are feeling emotionally distraught, upset, nervous, anxious, fearful, angry, that food is your comfort. But like, there are other ways to comfort yourself. And I'm not talking about diet ways. I'm not talking about distracting yourself or calling a friend, or, right, like that's diet mentality. I hate that. I hate it. I'm talking about like really building this relationship and not being scared of feelings, and finding safety in you and finding the intimacy in yourself. On top of that, understanding the mindset around eating that will give you the access to no longer indulging in weird behaviors and habits. This woman I'm talking to pretty soon, she's pretty slender. Your weight doesn't have it, there's no indicator. Like, if you are stuck mentally and emotionally, there is an issue. Regardless of what number is on the scale or what pant size you wear. And sometimes I find that the more slender someone is, the more severe their mental and emotional issue with food, body, and weight is. But totally doable. There just has to be that strong will and desire to live life outside of that. It requires taking a risk into a bit of the land of the unknown. Coaching works in the what you don't know that you don't know world, right? And my superpower is to be able to see what you can't see about the way your inner brain patterns are working from a completely non-judgmental space. I just see everybody as like, I'm listening behind what you're saying and listening for if you were to make an adjustment here and there with the way you're looking at food, what you're saying to yourself, how you're, managing your food issues or whatever. If you tweak this, watch to see that there's going to be a different result. And it happens every single time. There's just a client last night and she was judging herself for like eating at the counter and whatever. And it was just like, I asked her about it this week and she's like, oh my gosh, that's not an issue anymore. And it's like, that's what transformation is. It's like, you just have your coach say something different to help you see it differently. And then the energy shifts, and then the behavior shift. And anyway, I am madly in love with this profession. And here's the truth about the day you die. I've said this in the podcast before, but I heard a coach say this once and I'll never forget it. Like, when you are in your coffin, if you have one, say it's a traditional Catholic wake or something. I don't know if Christians do open casket or not, but anyway, and the casket is open and people are going and paying their, prayers and all the things for your life. Never once has anyone ever looked down into the casket and said, so and so. They always had the perfect body. It can sound a little funny, but it actually brings emotion up for me because I know how much that ends up being like 95% of what so many people are striving for every day of their life. And it makes absolutely no difference in the quality of your life. Now, when I say that, I value health highly, but we need to kind of put mental and emotional health on the table in addition to the physical. Because you can have the most physically healthy body in the world, but if your mental and emotional health is no good, you could be suicidal. You could be so anxious that you never have love. You could be, and therefore you continue to binge and still maintain a healthy body, right? A lean body, but you're binging because you are isolated. These patterns are going on underneath. It is not the goal. The goal is holistic health, mind, body, spirit, health, emotional health. I've done enough research now to show that some of the healthiest physical people in the world, they will die earlier. They will have heart attacks. They will have strokes. The ones who are so obsessed about health, they often will be the ones that go down. I hate to say that, but so many people. And then there might be people who have a little extra weight on, but you can tell that they're just like emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually healthy, and like they'll stand the test of time, right? My grandparents were both in their mid-90s when they died. Cocktails, for my one grandparent every single night, like a cigarette once a day for the other one, but they were so social. They were so connected. They were in happy marriages. They had really beautiful families. They, had all of those different things. And the impact of your not taking action on whatever area of your life is out of alignment, food, body, and weight, relationship, or otherwise, it's extremely impactful, not only for you, but your family. Your kids see what you do, your grandkids see what you do. You pass this stuff on for generations and generations if you don't do something completely different. So if it doesn't inspire you to invest in yourself and your happiness, then do it for your family. Do it for the future generations. I have a lot of clients who say they want to be a good example for their kids, or they know they messed their daughter up and they want their daughter to do the program. They want their neighbor to do the program. They want their friend to do the program. And I want you to do the program if this message is speaking to you. So as I record this, it's the end of May. So by the time you see this on the podcast, it'll be June. And I hope that I see you on my calendar really soon. Take the risk, book the damn call. What's the worst that could happen? You find out information you didn't know. You get more clarity on your issue that you didn't have before. Maybe you get enough safety to start moving in your life. Listening to this podcast is not having a coach be able to see your specific patterns and say, hey, if you tweak this and do that, you're going to play the most amazing game you've ever played in your life called Food Freedom. So I love you guys so much. Love yourselves. Take risks. You only live once. And we'll see you for the next episode. If you are serious about taking action on your struggle with food, body, and weight, then this is for you. Go ahead and text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5688. 5483. Immediately after texting that number, you will get access to our free training that will tell you why you can't figure the food, body, and weight thing out, why you can't keep weight off even after you've been successful in the past, and how to actually overcome it, including a mini hypnosis session at the end. Don't miss out. Text the word hypnosis to 855-BE-ALIVE. That's 855-232-5483.